Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. I'm just going to wait a second to let people kind of get logged on this afternoon. If you're here with me, hello. If you're watching this as a replay, hello. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Okay. Awesome, awesome. So I see we have people jumping on here. Cool. We'll just give it a second just to let a few people join us, and then we'll be good to dive right in. Awesome. I see quite a few people joining. Hello, good afternoon. So we'll just give them another 30, 45 seconds to jump on, and then we'll jump right in. How's everyone doing this afternoon? Cool. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. I know some of you'll be watching the replay of this, so this way there's not a long lag in the beginning. But if you're just jumping on, don't worry. We're just getting started. And like I said, you will get a replay of this recording after today, so you can go back and watch anything that you may have missed. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Samantha, and I'm the Artistic Director with AQUA. I'm so excited to be here for this live webinar. We will be discussing anything and everything about consultation today. So with consultation comes pricing, comes color matching, dives deep into which system is best for my guest. Okay, so we're going to dive very deep into what questions are best to ask the guest to determine what system is best for them. But then also, what should we charge our guest for the service? That is the million-dollar question, right? How should I charge my guest appropriately for the service? So we will be discussing that today. Before we get started, a few things I want to mention. There is a Q&A box on your screen. So there should be a box that you see that says Q&A. Please feel free to drop anything in that Q&A box as we discuss. If there's a question that I know that pertains to something that we're going to be discussing, as we move along, I will answer it. If not, we'll leave plenty of time at the end to answer all of your questions. So I really want to make sure that all of your questions are answered today. So please drop your questions in that Q&A box, and we'll talk about them at the end. Also, we have a chat box. So I would love to hear from you in the chat box. I see a few people already said, hey, Allison, is this supposed to be a live video? My screen is black. Ashley, yes, it is a live video. Can anybody else tell me they see me on their video in the chat box? So if you are live with me in the chat box, let me know if you can see me or just hear me, because it should be a live video. Maybe. Also, if you're live with me, I want to hear from you. So in the chat box, let me know where you're tuning in from. I love to hear where everyone is. Okay, Alex says I see you. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Ashley, maybe exit out and come back in. Maybe that is how you can't see me. Try to refresh. Okay, so I would love to hear where all of you are tuning in from. So in the chat box, let me know where you're tuning in from this afternoon. I'd love to hear where you are in the country. So I am in Ohio. I'm located about 45 minutes south of Cleveland. So it's very cold here today. It's kind of snowing a little bit. We've had some snow in the last few days. Not my favorite, but we're here, and luckily it's nice and warm in my house, so I don't have to worry about being outside today. Oh, perfect. Okay, let's see where everyone's tuning in from. Virginia, Louisiana, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Illinois. Oh my goodness, a little bit everywhere. Oklahoma, Ohio. Oh, hi, Allison. I know Allison. She's here from Ohio. Oh, Ashley Hudson. I love this. Massachusetts, Kansas City. Oh, you're supposed to get snow this evening. Oh my goodness, in Kansas City. Yeah, we're supposed to get some actual snow this evening as well. But I guess it's comes with living in a cold climate, right? Not all of us can live in some of these beautiful areas like some of you are tuned in from. Okay, Becca in Chicago. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for spending your afternoon with me. Like I said, we're going deep into consultation today. So if you've missed any portion of this recording, you will get a copy of it, so don't worry. And if you've just tuned in, there is a Q&A box. So please, if you have any questions, drop your questions in the Q&A box, and we'll make sure that we answer them either as we move along or at the end of the webinar today. So again, I want to make sure that this is catered for you. I want to make sure that each and every one of you get all of your questions answered. No question is a silly question. I cannot stress that enough. If you have a question, I'm sure somebody else is thinking it too. So I absolutely want to answer before we hop off today your questions. But in addition to that, I want to make sure that you know how to get a hold of me after this webinar in case you do have questions. So I'm actually going to put my Instagram handle, if you don't already follow me, in the chat box. Okay, so I just put my Instagram handle in the chat box. If you don't already follow me, please do, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions, okay? And when I say questions, it doesn't necessarily just mean questions pertaining to this webinar. It can be any extension question. So no question is a silly question. Please do not hesitate to reach out. DM me on Instagram if you do have any extension questions that are either left unanswered today or something totally different from today. I would love to help and follow up with you. Okay, consultation. Who's excited? Who has had some challenges with extension consultations? Anyone? Right? So, consultation, I truly believe, is the most important aspect of any service that you're offering in the salon. It is the most important part of the service to truly determine, are you and your guest on the same page? Right? And this goes with any service you're offering in the salon, whether it's a color service, a cutting service, a lash service, a nail service, right? No matter what it is, we want to be sure we are conducting a thorough consultation to determine, are you and your guest on the same page as to what the service offers, right? What their overall goal for the service is, what is achievable on your end based upon their goal, okay? How long is the service going to take? How many sessions is the service going to take? What's the service going to cost? What's the at-home maintenance required for that service? What's the in-salon maintenance required for that service, right? There's so many aspects when it comes to a really good consultation. So I really want to dive deep into all of those questions today and hopefully spark your brain to a few new consultation questions you can ask when it comes to truly perfecting that consultation to deliver the best service possible. Okay. So we're going to dive right into it. First and foremost, when it comes to consultation, number one question I always truly like to ask is this your first time ever wearing hair extensions? Pretty basic, right? We think, okay, why would I need to know if they've ever wore extensions before? Right? I believe that is truly a loaded question. If they've wore extensions before, one, they know that there is some sort of maintenance involved. Yes, that maintenance may not be what you're going to teach them to maintain at home. However, they truly know that extensions are not a wash and go, complete, let's get extensions quickly and I'm good, I'll see you never, right? We know that there is maintenance involved both in the salon and at home, okay? Also, if they've wore extensions before, they have some sort of feeling as to what extensions feel like in their hair. Again, it may not be exactly what your application and your method is going to feel like. However, they have some sort of background knowledge on that moving forward for when you are applying extensions. Okay, so have they ever wore extensions before? Second question I like to ask, what are your hair goals? Right? What goals are you looking to achieve? What is your overall desired result when it comes to extensions? Okay, listening to what their goals are may factor in a few different scenarios. So they may say, okay, my goal is to grow my hair longer. Okay, so what that tells me is my guest does want longer hair. However, she does not in her mind, want to wear extensions forever. She truly wants to wear extensions until her hair gets to her goal and then remove her extensions. Okay. So what do we need to do in this period of time? And you determine that time frame, right? Maybe it's 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, 2 years. What is her goal? And if her goal is to grow her hair, how long does she need to wear extensions for to truly get that end goal? Okay. Another goal may be she would like to be platinum blonde, right? You can feel me, right? Those guests that come in, level 2, 3, 4, 5 hair, and they want to be platinum blonde. That's their goal. We have to break the news to them that unfortunately that goal is not going to be achieved today, but this is our roadmap. This is our plan to achieve your goal by this time. Okay. These are the steps we need to take to get from A to B and all of the steps in between. This is the time frame and this is the price. Okay, so truly break that down to them. We don't want to set them or you up for failure by thinking they can achieve their goal today when truly we know that's not possible. Okay, and maybe that is their goal currently, but after a really deep, thorough consultation, you determine, okay, we actually don't want to be a platinum blonde 22-inch extension guest. We really want to be more of a lived in blonde while we maintain our extensions. Okay, so just have that conversation with your guest as to what is their overall goal. Are they just looking for volume? Maybe they love the length of their hair, they just need more volume, fullness, thickness. Maybe they do want 22-inch maximum density extensions, right? They want the best and the max you can give them, the longest. That is a total different conversation as to can you achieve that, right? Does their current hair length, their current hair density, the current integrity of their hair allow to achieve the max density, max length goal? So just break that down and have that conversation with them. Another question I love to ask during the consultation is, do you have any medical concerns that may affect your hair, or have you experienced hair loss before? Okay, this is a very important question because, again, set yourself up for success and your guest. If you have this conversation ahead of time, right, prior to applying any extensions, you get all of those questions out in the open. And if your guest is on any medication that may cause hair loss, or a side effect may be hair loss, if they've experienced hair loss previously, or they do have a medical concern that may trigger hair loss, we're not medical professionals, right? We truly want to ensure that they consult with the medical professional if that may be a challenge. However, if everyone says, yes, absolutely, extensions are a go, heaven forbid, 6 months down the road, something arises, right? Maybe they truly do have a side effect of a medication. Or we know that even extreme stress can trigger hair loss, right? We know that COVID hair loss is a major challenge currently. We know that postpartum hair loss after birth, right? There's so many reasons and challenges that hair loss may occur. But if you have that conversation upfront, open and honest about it, and you let the guest know and set them at ease that if we do experience this down the road, we'll cross that path. However, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page that this is a potential challenge. However, in my professional opinion and potentially, a medical professional, we believe that you can wear extensions. However, we will check the integrity of your hair at every single move up appointment and in between if necessary, and face that challenge if and when it arises. Okay, so have that conversation up front and get to know what are their medical concerns, if any, and what medications may they be on that may have affected their hair. Okay, and then for me, the final and most important question to ask your guest is, what is their lifestyle? Okay, what is their lifestyle? What do they do on a day-to-day basis? Why would I want to ask that question? Think about it for a second. Lifestyle. This truly determines, are extensions a good fit for them or not, right? What extension system or systems fits them best? How you're going to apply those systems based upon their potential lifestyle. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then this truly sparks the at-home maintenance discussion when it comes to lifestyle. So within the lifestyle question, a few sub questions to ask would be, Walk me through a day in the life of you, right? Like, okay, if I'm having a consultation with me, I would say, okay, Samantha, walk me through your typical routine and throughout the week. Okay, what about the weekend? Walk me through when you wake up in the morning. Do you wash in the morning or do you wash at night? Okay, cool. You wash in the morning. After you wash, do you typically blow dry or do you air dry? Okay, you air dry. Awesome. So with extensions, we may need to tweak that routine a little bit. If you typically air dry when you're wearing hair extensions, you now have to blow dry your hair. And I always give the why behind the what. So we recommend to always blow dry your hair, never air dry, because when your hair's wet, it's much more weak than when it's dry. Okay, the elasticity is significantly different on wet versus dry hair. Okay, so we always want to ensure you're blow drying your strands to not cause added weight and potential damage on your wet, fragile hair. It's always staying dry. Okay, another reason why we recommend to blow dry your hair is because sounds really crazy. However, you have all of this foreign hair in, like second hair. It's much thicker, much more dense than your natural hair. And if they're wearing weft or our cylinder extensions, they now have beads in their hair and thread that just hold moisture. So, with moisture, and the moisture continuously staying in your hair, it could cause mold or mildew, and at minimum, at least smell. And they're going to look at you crazy, right? So, we always recommend to make sure you do blow dry your hair to not have any mildew or mold challenges. Yes, once or twice may not happen. It'll be the consistency of letting your hair stay wet that you'll notice. Okay. The third and final reason why we always recommend to blow dry your hair is just to truly keep the cuticle nice and smooth on the hair. If you're always letting your hair air dry, over time the cuticle will stay open and not allow the hair to look soft and shiny, and in turn, not last quite as long. Okay. So when I'm having that lifestyle conversation, I want to then segue into this is why you always blow dry your hair. Because if the guest is not willing to do that, or they might not have the time to do that in the morning, extensions are not going to be a fit for them. Okay. Yes, we want, we're behind the chair to sell ourselves and sell our services. However, we don't want to offer a service to a guest that truly is not a good fit for it. Extensions, especially. Okay. So within the lifestyle, we asked what their routine is. She just told us she doesn't blow dry, but now she decides she's willing to go ahead and blow dry. Okay. Continue walking me through your day. When you go to work throughout the day, do you pull your hair up or do you leave your hair down most of the time? Okay. Throughout the day, do you have to wear any type of head covering, whether it be a scrub cap, a hat, a helmet, anything else that you typically wear on your head throughout the day? Why would I want to ask that question? Right? If the guest is wearing a scrub cap or having to pull their hair up really tight and wear a helmet or anything like that, that truly plays a role into what extension systems are going to be a good fit, right? If she wears her hair up in a high ponytail, we know that either hand-tied weft, keratin fusion extensions, they will be the easiest to hide and pull up into a nice and high ponytail. Other systems, yes, they can pull their hair up with tape-in extensions, with machine weft extensions, with cylinder extensions. They can wear their hair up, just might not be quite as high or easy to hide. Okay. And then if they are wearing a hat, a scrub cap, a helmet, something that's going to be pulled on and off throughout the day, that could cause friction and potentially damage their hair or their scalp. So we want to be sure that if that's something that they're doing, we're teaching them and educating them properly on how to remove and reapply those things in a safe manner so they're not damaging their hair. Okay. So, midday, you decide you are pulling your hair up often. Okay, cool. Let's talk about the best ponytail options for you, ensuring that we don't pull our hair up wet ever. It's always dry. And then also ensuring what system is, in my mind, I'm thinking about what system or systems are falling into our consultation questions, right? When we discuss the hair goals, we're starting to discuss lifestyle. If my guest tells me that she always wants to wear her hair up in a high pony, I'm going to start to weed out some systems, right? Maybe I've already decided to weed out tape-in extensions because she does pull her hair up pretty high and she's a little bit finer. Okay, I don't want to expose those systems on her hair. So I'm like, okay, I think kind of leaning towards hand-tied, weft, or keratin fusion. We're going to keep our discussion. So after she walked me through her afternoon, then she tells me after work she goes to the gym. At the gym, she likes to swim or get in the sauna. Okay, so those are red flags also. This is where I need to discuss maintenance. So if she says, okay, I truly love every day to, my exercise is swimming. Now I'm going to say, do you get your hair wet when you swim or does your hair stay dry? She says her hair's wet. Okay, now we're going to have the conversation of, is there a way that you don't have to get it wet? All right, is there truly a way that you can swim without wetting your hair? Because we know with extensions, consistently having chlorine or salt water on the hair will absolutely damage the hair over time, right? And at minimum, change color of the hair extensions. So we want to steer her away from potentially getting her hair wet often. And if she does every once in a while, just educate her on, okay, before you swim, please be sure to go into the shower, the locker rooms, wet your hair down with natural tap water, and spray your hair thoroughly with either the AQUA leave-in conditioner or the AQUA conditioner or mask, just to truly put a barrier on your hair. And then put a loose braid or ponytail just to keep it nice and secure while you're swimming. Okay, so this is where we segue into that conversation. And then if she also does say she likes to get her hair wet and swims and also goes in the sauna, again, we potentially just rolled out tape-in extensions, right? Tape-in extensions are a beautiful system, but we know that with moisture, with heat, with sweating, the tape-in bonds can slowly, come apart and slide out if that is what the guest's lifestyle is. Okay, so that is a system we may steer away from, and we may decide with either our weft extension, cylinder, or keratin fusion that does not have that potential bond to slide. However, we know with keratin fusion, if the guest is swimming often, we know that chlorine could slowly break down that bond as well, and excessive sweating could potentially break down that bond sooner. So just truly start to think about all of these factors when you're discussing the lifestyle question. Okay, so after we determined either is she swimming or not swimming, does she work out, does she not work out, what else does she do day to day? What else kind of fits within her life? If she decides she showers at night, does she blow dry or does she not, right? How often does she wash her hair? Are you a daily washer, weekly, bi-weekly, right? Every 2 to 3 days? How often is she washing her hair? And when she is washing, what styling products is she using? What does she truly like to use on her hair styling wise? Okay. Does she load her hair up with, a root lifter, mousse, oils? Like, what does she like to use? And is she using over the counter products or is she committed to using professional products? Right. So have that conversation with her styling, heat styling. Does she have to smooth, flat iron, curl daily? Or can she round brush, blow out her hair and it lasts for a few days? How much time does she typically spend on her hair and how much time is she willing to spend on her hair? Okay. So I hope that lifestyle, day in the life of your guest really opens your eyes to put yourself in their shoes and think what extension system or systems are going to be best, and do extensions even fit in that lifestyle at all? Okay. I see a question from Susan that says, what is the best for swimmers? That's a great question, Susan. So if they are swimmers, we know that they can wear hand-tied or machine-tied weft very easily because there's no bonds that are affected by chlorine or just water in general. Okay. Tape-in extensions would not be the best fit for a swimmer. And keratin fusion, it's iffy. Okay. With keratin fusion, we know that with AQUA's keratin fusion bonds, they are very, very strong, durable bond. Okay. With our Italian keratin tip, it's very, very strong. However, with excessive swimming, chlorine can over time break down those bonds. If she is like really rough brushing, potentially, breaking a bond and then having chlorine excessively sitting in the bond. So keratin fusion, can she wear them? Absolutely. will they last quite as long? It just depends. But you can say the same thing with tape-in extensions, right? Tape-in extensions, can they wear tape-in extensions and swim? Absolutely. Are they going to last as long as they should? Maybe not, right? It really truly depends on the guest. And then with our cylinder extensions, we know that there is no bond as well that could potentially break down using just our cylinder and the bead. However, that they could slide with excessive moisture in there. So, swimming, leaving their hair wet, those bonds could slide. The cylinder and the bead itself could slide easier than if they weren't swimming. So I truly think when it comes to a swimmer, weft would be best. I see you say the thank you, weft, weft, weft. Yeah, the weft I truly believe would be best. However, if they are swimmers, we know that the hair itself cannot withstand excessive swimming. Nobody's hair can, right? When it comes to the chlorine. So just have that conversation and determine are extensions a good fit in general, and can they just try not to get their hair wet as much? That's a great question. Okay, so those are the key consultation questions that I always ask during my consultation. Now, one thing I want to recommend is at my salon, we've decided to create a consultation form. We do this for all of our services, okay? Not just hair extensions. We have a consultation form for our lash services. We have a consultation form for waxing services. Within the lash services, we have one for lash extensions, lash lift and tints, all of our brow laminations, right? So I know we call them like extension waivers, extension waivers or contracts. We like to call them consultation forms just to make it a little bit lighthearted, okay? And what I like to do is have my consultation form have all of these questions on them so they are sitting and truly thinking and putting the answers to the consultation form on the form, and then you're able to take the form and go over the consultation with them. Okay. Especially who's on here, who are some of my newer hairstylists? Raise your hand or give me a little emoji or something in the chat box if you are a newer to the industry hairstylist and you're just still really trying to master your consultation. Or maybe you've been doing hair for a long time, but you're still truly trying to master your extension consultation, right? So we found, and I have a commission salon here in Ohio. So I have 16 stylists at my salon, and we're a training based salon. So I have a lot of stylists coming straight from school and going through our training program. We found out that it's not always easy to have a consultation with a guest when you are trying to memorize all the questions to ask them. Okay. Some of us who've been doing this forever, you're like, oh, yeah, I can talk all day, right? We can just sit and have a conversation all day, but it's not that simple for everyone. And I truly recognize that. So, what I found is creating a consultation form for various services just truly help make that consultation flow and ensures that you don't forget important questions. So, my consultation forms, just a few example questions that it has on it. I have it wrote down here. The first questions would be, do you have any allergies? Okay, we truly want to know. If your guest has a latex allergy, our tape-in extensions, our retape tabs have latex in them. So we truly want to know, do you have a latex allergy? My best friend actually is allergic to copper. We found that out. She was holding a copper mug one day and she had a severe reaction to it. So if she has a copper allergy, I definitely would not want to put our copper cylinders in her hair. Okay, so do you have any allergies? What medications are you currently taking? Another question would be, are you pregnant or have you given birth in the last 6 months? Right? We truly want to know, have you experienced hair loss yet, or know that that might be a potential challenge to look at? Do you have a sensitive scalp? Okay, do you have a sensitive scalp or do you have any scalp concerns currently? And then under there, I would say something like, are you experiencing excessive dryness? Do you have an extremely oily scalp? Just kind of subcategories to have them either check boxes or answer in there. Another question would be, have you experienced hair loss recently? Or have you ever experienced hair loss? Okay. Another question that I recently added to our consultation form is, have you had COVID in the last 6 to 12 months? Okay. Have you had COVID in the last 6 to 12 months? Because again, COVID hair loss is a serious challenge at the moment. Um, Another question is, what are your hair goals? Right? So essentially, I just took all the questions we discussed, broke them down a little bit, put them on the consultation form, and this way the guest can take 5 to 10 minutes, fill out that consultation form. You have the consultation form in front of you, so you don't forget to ask these questions. Okay, so what I'd recommend from here is for you to sit down, think about what are the questions that I truly want to know from my guest, and make up a consultation form that you can ask your guest. Okay, so just break down those questions very simply and let your guest answer them. So this way you have a guide. And then the second page of my consultation form are my do's and don'ts, right? They're at home maintenance. So I break it down like do's and don'ts with extensions, things that we recommend in our maintenance. And if you're not sure what to recommend in maintenance, we do have a webinar that we filmed on all things maintenance. So you can find that on the AQUA website, www.aquahairextensions.com. You can find our webinar on maintenance. Okay. We also have maintenance cards at AQUA. So if you have never seen or used our maintenance cards, I'd recommend for you to ask your local DSC, so your sales rep, for a maintenance card or two. You can order them if you order through us at AQUA. You can request and order maintenance cards. So that's a great tool to have to send home with your guests, so they truly know how to maintain their hair at home. But this way, that will give you getting notes on your consultation form. Okay, so my consultation form also dubs as my extension waiver. So we're going to go deep into pricing next. That's kind of our second topic of this, is what do I charge for the service? But the back half of my consultation form is where my guest signs and agrees to the service that we are going to be providing. Okay, so and on the consultation form, I write the system that she's receiving, the overall price, and then I always, 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 I cannot stress this enough, recommend for your guest to place a deposit, a non-refundable deposit, to book her extension service. Okay, so that's on my consultation form as well. So when I say non-refundable deposit, I'd recommend for that to be a percentage of the service or just a flat fee. Okay, we're going to talk about pricing in just a moment. So I never recommend to say, this is what your total cost is, and your place a 50% deposit to cover the cost of your hair, right? Now you just told the guest what the hair cost. So we're professionals. We don't want the guest to know how much our cost of things are, only what we are charging them. So how I word that is, okay, we went through this consultation. We determined this is the system that you're going to get, and this is the length, and this is your overall goal, and this is how long it's going to take to get to that goal. Your total is this much. We require a 50% deposit to book your service, okay? Not to order your hair, to book the service. And I put that right on my consultation form. I date it, how much they paid for that deposit, what their total price is, and we both sign it and they get a copy. Okay. This way, again, you can call it an extension waiver, you can call it a contract. I just like to call it a consultation form, because this way they can really truly fill in their consultation questions. And the second half is, we both sign and agree to what they're receiving. Okay, so Susan says, do you guarantee your services if AQUA hair care is not being used? Susan, great question. I absolutely do not guarantee any service unless AQUA hair extensions are being used, and that is a requirement by AQUA as well. So we cannot guarantee any AQUA hair extensions if our AQUA hair care products are not being used, meaning our shampoo, conditioner, leave-in conditioner, and our hair extension deep conditioning mask. If they're using any other wetland products, I will not guarantee their service, nor will AQUA. So yes, Susan, they can use, hairsprays, they can use dry shampoos, root lifters, things like that are not going to affect their extensions and the integrity of their extensions. But any wetland products, they absolutely have to use AQUA. Good question. Okay, so like I said, we do have our Q&A box. I don't see any Q&A questions over here quite yet, but as you're going, if you think of any, please throw them in there. I want to make sure that we do get those answered. If you've jumped on with us since the beginning, we do have that Q&A box. I know, Susan, you put it in the chat. Not a big deal. I saw it pop up. Totally fine. But we have a Q&A box. If it's a totally different question, maybe you're just jumping on and you're not sure if I answered it, please don't be afraid to ask anything. I'll make sure that we get this answered. And if you're jumping on and you may have missed anything, this is being recorded and you will get a copy, so don't worry. Okay, pricing. Let's jump in and, oh wait, I'm sorry, before pricing, rewind. The final thing that we need to discuss is color matching. I have my color ring sitting here, and I knew I was, as I dropped it, I knew I was forgetting something. So color matching. So before we determine what colors we're going to order for our guest, right, we may have decided what system we're ordering, okay? And when I say system or systems, maybe your guest is going to wear two. Maybe she is wearing weft in the back and keratin infusions on the side just for some added volume, or just to be placed around the hairline because she's very fine. Okay, maybe she's wearing tape and keratin infusion. Maybe she's wearing weft and tape. So she could be wearing multiple systems. So within that, we need to determine what colors we need before the guest leaves. Okay, so when it comes to color matching, you always need your coloring. I absolutely will never do a consultation without my AQUA coloring. There's no possible way I can look at her hair, try to match it up without my ring, because there's so many beautiful color options. We have 47 beautiful color options on our color ring, and I like to know, okay, what colors fit her best. So some tips on color matching. When you are color matching, we need to look at a few different areas on the head. Okay, so first we need to look at the hair from the parietal ridge up. Okay, so think about if I took the hair, sectioned it from the parietal ridge up. That hair, I need to look at the mid-length or the mid-shaft to the ends. Okay, so I'm gonna take my hat off. Don't mind my hat hair, but this will be much easier for me to show. Okay, so if I'm looking at my hair at the moment, if I'm going to section from the parietal ridge up, I'm truly wanting to see and blend. If I'm placing extensions here, I need to see the hair color, let me spin here, the hair color from the mid-length down to match. So let's say, and my hair here is long, but let's say it's not, let's say it's short. I truly want to see mids to ends because what's on my ends have to blend seamlessly with my extensions, right? Under here is going to be covered with extensions. It's important, we'll talk about that in a moment, but what's the most important is the hair from here up blending with the extensions. So if I am color matching, and I'm just going to grab Arctic Rooted here. If anybody wants to know what color I'm wearing, Arctic Rooted. So I'm going to grab Arctic Rooted and I'm going to section the hair and ensure that if my hair ends here, it blends seamlessly into my extensions. Okay, so yes, underneath is important, but it's not nearly as important at what's going on here. And I don't mean at the root, I mean mid down. That's what's the most important when you're color matching your extensions. Okay, so we'll look at that first. Mid-length down, parietal ridge up. What, my hat on backwards? Oh, thought my hat was on backwards for a second. What color blends the best? Maybe it's two color options. Okay, what color or colors blend best? Secondly, what base matches the base tone of their extensions? Okay, so if they have a deep base, and you're choosing maybe Atlantic Duotone, okay, Atlantic Duotone doesn't have a rooted base. So either you have to root the base yourself, okay, with a semi-permanent color, or you would choose maybe Arctic Rooted because it has a deeper base and panel that in together with Atlantic Duotone, right? So you put the rooted one on the top if you're doing weft, and you kind of panel some Atlantic Duotone in between and then a rooted underneath. So this way it's not bright at the scalp, okay? And then the last area you do want to look at is the hair that is directly on the bottom that falls forward, okay? So is this hair light or dark? So you can see I recently brightened up some pieces on my hair. Sorry, the camera's backwards, so I always move things the wrong way. Okay, so I recently brightened up. I do have some brightness coming from underneath here. Some guests are very dark under there. So we want to ensure that our first row of extensions, whether it be weft, whether it be tapeman extensions, keratin fusion, you do have whatever tones you're seeing underneath matched up with their extensions. Okay, so the three areas we want to look at is parietal ridge up, mid shaft down, right? The ends of the hair have to match seamlessly with the length of their extensions. Then we want to look at the base, okay? And when I say matching up their base tone, it does not have to be perfect, right? As long as there's a shadow. You don't want to create a highlight directly at the scalp with bright extensions. We want that little bit of shadow, even if that's a level or two difference or a slight tonality difference. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? We want it to be very close. However, it still will blend if it's close. And then the final thing would be is what's happening on the very bottom underneath area of their hair. And are we matching up that bottom layer to seamlessly blend? Okay, because if you're putting extensions in and they have short layers under here, their length is short and you're extending that, what's falling in the front, right? Girls, you feel me, you pull all your hair to the front. That's just what we do. And if this hair is this long, and I have some highs, right? I have some highlights here, and what you're extending does not match that highlight, it's going to be very obvious. Okay, so truly determine what color or colors work best for that guest, and maybe you do have to slightly tweak the color to fit perfectly, or maybe you can get something that matches, or maybe you can alter the guest's natural hair to blend perfectly with their extensions. But super important to have your coloring when you're color matching. All right, grand finale, pricing. Okay, let's talk about pricing. So when it comes to pricing extensions, the basis of what we recommend for pricing at AQUA and what I recommend as a hairstylist and as artistic director with AQUA and an educator for many, many, many years, what I recommend is to price all of your extensions as an extension service. Okay, and what I mean by that is price your extensions as a service with hair included and not your guest buying hair and then paying you to apply that hair. Okay. If the guest purchases hair and then pays you to apply the hair, there's a lot happening there, but also few different scenarios could happen, right? So your guest comes and you do a consultation, you tell her, okay, the hair cost is $900 and your application will be $500, throwing out numbers here. And she's like, okay, well, let me go check what the other salon down the street charges for hair because that seems a little high, right? Or, okay, I can see paying that for hair, but for the application, right? That seems a little high. So she absolutely can go and try, not that they can't any other way, but it's much easier for debate if you're charging for hair and your service price. But then also, why can't your guest go and buy hair anywhere? If you're selling her hair, I know you're going to say, because I can't guarantee it. Absolutely, you can't, right? However, if you're selling her hair and you're charging her for the application, why can't she buy hair anywhere, right? You're just selling her hair and you're charging her to apply it. She thinks you're selling her the same thing that she can buy on Amazon, so why can't she just go buy it anywhere? You're still getting the service fee, right? That's what she's thinking in her mind. I'll just bring it to you and you can put it in, and you're going to fall down the rabbit hole of why you don't do that and why you can't guarantee that, but it's going to be a debate, okay? However, if you price by the look for a service with hair included, there's no debate. You're charging $1,000 for the service that includes the cost of the hair. She's not going to go and try to find hair elsewhere because it's included, right? It's the same price whether you decide to find hair or not. You might as well get the hair that's included in the service. Does that make sense? So when you're pricing your extension service, when I talked about my consultation, I always say to achieve the look that you're desiring, okay, to achieve the look that you're desiring, your total will be X amount of dollars. Okay, so we'll say it's $1,000. We do require a 50% deposit to book your appointment, okay, not to order your hair. We require a 50% deposit to book your appointment. It is non-refundable. And then the other 50% is due the day of your service. Okay, that is my exact verbatim verbiage that I use when I'm having that consultation with my guest. Okay, and I say included in the service is all the hair we'll need, the application, a shampoo cut and style if you choose to include that. I do because I have to prep the hair, right? I have to prep her natural hair. I have to blow dry it. And then at the end, I can't just let her walk out the door. I have to cut and blend her extensions. And then I want to style them at the end for me because I want the content out of it, right? So I include a shampoo cut and style in my service. And then I also include, and I cannot stress this part enough, I recommend to every stylist out there, please start doing this and working this into your service. I include a complimentary take-home maintenance kit that includes all of your at-home maintenance products to maintain your hair over the next 3 to 6 months. In that maintenance kit is our AQUA Essentials Kit. So they think it's complimentary. I work it directly into the cost. They don't have to worry about buying any additional products. This is their one price they're paying me for a full, beautiful extension service, and they get their take-home products included in it. And their take-home products are our AQUA Essentials Kit. So if you're not familiar, our Essentials Kit has a beautiful black leather bag. In the Essentials Kit is an AQUA shampoo, conditioner, our multi-benefits leave-in conditioner, which if you know me, call it liquid gold. How many of you start calling it liquid gold after you met me, right? And then an AQUA large boar bristle brush. Okay. Now you can decide to include the AQUA deep conditioning mask. Absolutely. Okay. So I will say for me at my salon, we do include the deep conditioning mask in that service. I didn't always, but I realized that they need it. It's going to maintain their hair the best. And what's one extra product I can include in, mark it up just to include that product, and they get it complimentary. So that is optional. You do not have to include the AQUA deep conditioning mask, but we do have that as an option. So included in my extension service: hair, application, shampoo cut style, take home maintenance products to maintain their hair at home for 3 to 6 months. All of that is one price. Now, how do I come up with that price? $1 million question. Okay, so when you're pricing your extension service, you can do it a few different ways. And this is across the board, no matter what system we're working with. You might tweak the numbers just a smidge, but we're going to talk generic as to any system you're working with, and we'll kind of tweak it. So when it comes to pricing, okay, when I'm pricing my extension service, I can do this like 3 different ways if I'm truly pricing it as a service. So I can take the cost of hair, right? When I say cost of hair, I truly mean the cost of hair. I mean the essentials kit, and I mean tax and shipping. Okay? Hair, essentials kit, tax and shipping. That's what I say cost of hair. You cannot forget tax and shipping and including the essentials kit. So when it comes to pricing, you can take the cost of all of that, and I'm just going to give you some numbers just as examples. So let's just say the hair cost is $500. Okay, hair cost is $500. That is hair, tax and shipping, and the essentials kit. You can take that and double it. Okay, that can be your total service price. So that means the hard cost is $500, and you made $500 on the service. Okay. Some of you are like, yeah, that sounds about right? That sounds about right. That's with your application and everything, right? When we talk about pricing, it's not a one size fits all. Truly, I cannot sit here and tell you this is what you have to charge. We are all in different demographics. We all have different experience levels. We all have different education levels. We all charge something totally different in our salons for other services. Extensions have to be the same way. Okay. I truly can't sit here. I could say, okay, all of you, we're going to charge $1,000 for your extension price. It's just not feasible, because if I did a poll right now and asked you what you charge for your haircuts, we're all going to be totally different, right? Totally different. We're all in a totally different demographic. I'm in a small town in Ohio, and we have another 2 amazing educators that are in LA. Our prices are totally different based upon our demographic. okay, based upon who we service day to day and the rest of our pricing menu. So let's say the hair cost is $500. I double it. That is what my guest pays is $1,000 for their total service price. $500 would be their deposit and $500 would be what they pay at the time of the service, right? Yes, you can use that deposit to order all the hair and everything that you need, but we're telling them it's to book their service. Okay. Second way to price your service, you can take the 500, which is the hair cost, okay, and triple it. So 500, you're tripling the cost of the hair. So the guest pays $1,500. Keep it very simple. Okay. $1,500 is what the guest pays for the total service. Now, when it comes to systems like keratin fusion, okay, cylinder extensions, that's probably what I would recommend, right? Because the hair price is a much lower price point when it comes to single strand extensions, but it takes much longer for the application. So when it comes to charging for keratin fusion, I get the question so often, how do you price your keratin fusion extensions? How do you price your cylinder extensions? This is where I would definitely recommend to double or triple the price or the cost of the hair, because the cost of the hair is significantly lower than other systems, okay? So if I'm having scenario number 2, my guest is paying $1,500 for that total price, the total service, and she's putting a deposit of $750 down to book her appointment, okay? So it cost me $500 to provide that service to her, and I'm making a profit of $1,000, okay? Third scenario, and this in my examples, let's say the hair cost again is $500. That is, if you're just tuning in, when I say hair cost, that's the cost of the hair, the cost of the hair, the essentials kit, tax and shipping. Okay, we cannot forget tax and shipping or the essentials kit when we're including that into the price of our service. Okay, so the third scenario would be, again, our hair cost. And then we are just adding our service fee. Okay, so a service fee would be what you need to make in that amount of time to provide the service. So maybe you're averaging $100 an hour behind the chair. The service is going to take you $200. I'm sorry, 2 hours. The service is going to take you 2 hours. So you know your service fee has to be at least $200. Okay, so $500 is the hair cost. You add in your $200 service fee. So your guest pays $700. So it cost you $500, you charged or you profited $200. Maybe your service fee is, $400 because you're averaging $150 an hour behind the chair. It's going to take you, we'll say 2.5, 3 hours roughly. I did the math really wrong there, but we'll say it's about 3 hours behind the chair. So you need to charge a $450 service fee or something like that. So determine what you need to make behind the chair no matter what, determine what you need to make for this service, okay? And then determine, do I in my demographic want to double or triple the cost of hair, or do I just want to add in a service fee? Okay, charge the actual cost of the hair and then charge my service fee. Or you can double or triple the cost of the hair and add in a service fee. Okay, so you can double the cost of the hair, so $500, double it to $1,000, and then tack on another $250 service fee in there to round it out to a $1,250 service. Okay, so there's quite a few options. I would make it very simple on yourself and create some sort of chart. So I have an example here in our new WEFT workbooks. We've created really simple chart for you. Now there's no numbers in this chart, but what you can see is we did this for, the example is a hand-tied weft. So here I put the type of system in this column, okay? So the system would be one row or a partial look of hand-tied weft. The next row would be 2 rows or a full look of hand-tied weft, and the bottom one says 3 rows or a mega look. Okay, 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. If you're making this for keratin fusion, it would say essentially one bundle, 2 bundles, 3 bundles, or it could be a partial look, which would be up to 3 bundles, a full look, which may be 4 or 5 bundles, and then a full look or a mega look that might be 7 to 8 bundles, right? So you determine what's on the left-hand column here, and then across the top is the lengths. So 14, 18, 22-inch length, right? If you're creating this for machine weft, it would only have 18 and 22-inch length. So here, we created a cheat sheet, so it's much easier for you behind the chair to price quote your guest. So what I recommend to do is to, one, determine how you're going to charge. Are you doubling the cost of hair? Are you tripling the cost of the hair? Are you just taking the cost of everything and adding a service fee? Are you doubling and adding a service fee, right? Do the math ahead of time. And 1 row we know is essentially 1 pack of hair. 2 rows is roughly 2 packs of hair. 3 rows is roughly, could be up to 3 packs of hair. The only time that this isn't true is for 22-inch, right? We know that 22-inch, 1 row could be 1 pack and then 1 extra weft, right? 2 rows would be 2 packs and 2 wefts, right? 3 rows could be 3 full packs and then an extra. So that is where you have to do the math a little bit differently. You have to price it by the weft instead of by the pack. But 1 row, 14-inch, this is the price I'm going to discuss this with my guest, right? So I'm going to say 1 row, let's say the hair cost for 1 row is $500, right? Hair cost meaning hair, maintenance kit, tax and shipping. 14-inch, I decided I want to double the cost of everything. So right here in this 1 row, 14-inch, I write $1,000, okay? And then I continue that. So let's say 2 rows, 14-inch, we'll say the hair cost total comes to $900. I double that, so in here I write $1,800. So fill this out for yourself. Determine what systems you're going to offer, right? What all you're going to offer, and what pricing model works best for you, okay? Make a cheat sheet. Make a cheat sheet for hand-tied weft, machine weft, keratin fusion if you offer that, tape-ins if you offer that, right? The guest doesn't ever see this cheat sheet. Absolutely not. I wouldn't give this to her. But this is easy for me because I already did the math. I don't have to sit in front of her and do the math weird and potentially do the math wrong and price her too high or too low. It's very simple, and that's what her initial application price is, okay, for that total service look. So I see the question, what does maintenance cost? Yes, great question. What does maintenance cost? What should we charge to redo it when they need that maintenance every 6 to 8 weeks? Okay, so maintenance is a different price. Maintenance is a total service fee, right? There's no new hair needing to be purchased. It's going to cost you, if you're, let's say you're doing wefts, it's going to cost you the price of your beads, the price of your thread, your shampoo, your conditioner. We can go down the rabbit hole of all the extra things it actually does cost. For my salon owners here, you totally get me. It's not just your beads and your thread. There's lots of other factors. However, there's no hard cost of hair. So when it comes to maintenance, again, you can do this a few different ways. You can charge by the row. Okay, so you can say 1 row, 2 row, 3 row. Each row has a different price. When it comes to tape-in extensions, you can have a partial or a full look. So if they're wearing just a partial look for volume, you would have a price for a partial and a full look. Keratin fusion obviously are not reusable, so you would just have a removal price and then another new install price. But when it comes to, we'll say, weft extensions that have 1 rows, 2 rows, 3 rows, maybe your price is 50% of what the initial cost was. Okay, I know a lot of stylists who are very successful with, let's say that initial cost was $1,000. So all of their move up prices are $500. Keep it very simple, right? Or you can divide it by 3. So take that initial price of $1,000, divide it by 3. So each move up price would be roughly, say, $350, right? Or $333. But say your move up price is $350 every time you're getting your extensions removed and reapplied. Okay. Or you can set your row pricing depending on how much money you need to make in that amount of time. So I did see a question that said, what's the time frame for the service? Patrice, I'm not really sure what you mean by that. There's a time frame for every extension application takes a different amount of time, but also each stylist takes a different amount of time. So if you still have that as a question, maybe rephrase it a little bit. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. But I do see a lot of questions that say, what about the maintenance price? So when it comes to 1 rows, 2 rows, 3 rows, you determine, okay, how much do I need to make in this time frame? And again, let's say it takes me 2 hours. I know behind the chair as a stylist, I need to make $100 an hour. So my 1 row price is going to take me 2 hours. Let's just say it takes you 2 hours, so it's going to be $200. 2 rows, it's going to take me 3 hours, so it needs to be $300, right? So you determine what that price may be if you're doing row pricing. Maybe you decide it's very simple, $200 a row, $300 a row, $400, whatever pricing you need to have that be behind the chair. You just say, okay, each row is 200 or 250 or 300, whatever that may be. That might be a very simple way of pricing for you. Patrice says, okay, for a weft. So she was asking what's the time frame when you're applying a weft? Patrice, that is something that I always recommend if you're a new stylist. Okay, so if you're new to doing weft extensions, give yourself at least 1 hour for the application of each row. Okay, so give yourself an hour for the prep, right? Shampoo, blow dry, and then give yourself 1 hour per row for the application, and then an hour for cutting and blending. So if you are newer to weft extensions, your 1 row would probably take you about 3 hours. Prep, application, cutting and blending. Okay, so if you're doing 2 rows, that's about 4 hours because you have 2 rows, each at 1 hour, an hour in the beginning and an hour at the end. Now, don't think it's always going to take that long, right? With practice, you can perfect anything. So if you are truly practicing your application, getting the timing down, getting your technique down, it can speed up significantly. So I would have a goal of cutting that in half. So each row should take roughly 30 minutes. If you're doing our traditional weft application, that's not camo. Camo definitely takes longer. But if you're doing our traditional weft application, I would set a goal for yourself of 30 minutes if you truly want to be an extensionist and perfect that system. Okay. So when it comes to that maintenance pricing, again, that's super important because they're coming back in to see you every 6 to 8 weeks, and you want to have that pricing set in stone during the consultation. So they can be prepared for what is this going to cost me for the next year, right? So break that down and determine what you're going to charge. And I would also make a cheat sheet for that as well. So you determine, okay, if you're doing 1 row pricing, if you are taking your initial cost and dividing it in half or by thirds, or maybe you're just taking 25% off of it, whatever it might be, just have that set in stone ahead of time. Okay. Okay, so any other questions on pricing? Did I miss anything, or does anybody have any pricing specific questions? And like I said, if you don't follow me already, please follow me on Instagram. It's at Sharpie_J, SHARPI_J, Samantha Sharpless on Instagram. DM me if you have any questions about pricing. I can absolutely help you. This is something that as a stylist, we want to ensure that we are charging our worth. We are not undercharging, because if you're undercharging, you're ruining it for the rest of us. And I'm going to be very honest in saying that. If you are undercharging for your services, you are ruining it for the rest of us. Who agrees with me, right? If you are charging, such a low price for this high-end service, guests are going to come and say, okay, they're going to come to the stylist down the street and say, well, this person is charging, like significantly less. Why are you charging so much? And yes, I already saw somebody said you get what you pay for. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. You absolutely do. However, there has to be a medium here, or like a median. I'm sorry, there has to be a median price. And if some are charging outrageous prices and some are charging so super low, there has to be somewhere in the middle that guests can just understand that this is what they expect to pay when they're getting our services. Okay. Candace, hey girl. She said, hey Sam. Okay, so One last question I see, Donna said, how do I know how much hair I will need when I'm ordering? I'm never sure. That's tough, Donna. I will say, especially if you are newer to extensions. I hate saying it comes with time, but it does. So my best recommendations I can give you is determine obviously how much what your length is that you're needing to achieve. So what is the length the guest wants? And then determine what their density of hair is. So the hair that you're needing to apply into your guest's hair, if you're adding length, has to at least match their density of hair. Okay. So a great rule of thumb, if you're adding just overall density, just volume, no length, with weft extensions, like hand-tied weft, one pack is perfect, okay, just for density. Obviously, we know with machine weft, that one pack could be a full head of extensions, but it only comes in that one pack, so you have to get the full pack. When it comes to tape-in extensions, volume, density can be 1 to 2 packs. When it comes to keratin fusion or cylinder, your single strand extensions, 1 to 2 packs can also give great density, okay? If you're adding length, adding total length, taking someone from short to long, hand-tied weft, you're going to need 2 to 3 packs of hair. Machine weft, you're going to need at least that 1 pack of machine weft. It's very, very rare, but it could happen that you do need a second pack if the guest is very thick and dense. And then with tape-in extensions, 4 to 6 packs on average is good for a full head. And then your single strand, keratin fusion or cylinder, 5 to 8 packs is average for a full head. Okay, so I'd recommend to always order more than less. Okay, start to create a little stock of inventory in your salon if you have extra, but you never want to under order and not have enough hair. So match their density, right? Determine what is their density, what's their ponytail feel like, and how much hair will I need to achieve that ponytail. And truly, it comes with experience to know how much hair of it, like how much extensions you're going to have in each pack, right? We can absolutely we tell you the weights, and if you don't know the weight of the hair, you can find that on our website. So if you look at aquahairextensions.com, every length and pack of hair in every system will tell you the overall grams of hair. And when we say grams of hair, that's truly just the hair, not the bond or the weft whatsoever. So depending on the system that you're working with and the length, there's various weights. So when you are doing a full head of extensions, again, a full head, adding length, you will need in between 100 to 150 grams of hair on average. Okay, 100 to 150 grams of hair on average to complete a full head. Okay, so hopefully that will help you. Again, I can't stress this enough, if you have any questions and you're unsure how much hair to ask, just reach out. Okay. Myself, we have an amazing education team. Any one of our educators will be able to help determining how much hair you'll need. I know I often get color matching questions, photos of hair with color swatches. Sometimes I can help with that. Sometimes it's really tough with the photos, but I'll do the best I can to help you determine how much hair and color or anything like that. Okay, so let me just scroll up and make sure all of the questions in the chat box were answered. Cool. Okay, so I think we're kind of coming to an end. Does anybody have any last questions we have on anything consultation, color matching, pricing? Any last minute questions before we kind of bring this to a close? How do we feel? How do we feel after just really diving for the last hour or so on consultation? Did I intrigue and spark some of your brain just really turning on some new questions to ask? Anyone have something that it really gave you an aha, like light bulb moment to where you're like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. I definitely want to ask that question. Who's going to go and make a consultation form in their salon after today? Anyone? Or who's going to revamp their pricing menu? Who's excited for that? I think it's a great time for it. If you're due for a price increase, 2023, it's a time to do it, right? It's a new year. It's a great time to really revamp your pricing menu. Some of you have taken recent classes with us at AQUA. That's a fantastic time to increase your pricing menu, okay? To just do an overall price increase, you just invested your time and money into an advanced training. You definitely have to practice after that advanced training, but that truly sparks a fantastic price increase on your services. Awesome. We're saying we feel a lot better after the consultations. I love that. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with, if you are truly someone watching who you maybe just were recently certified with us, or maybe you're just branching into a new extension system, or you've taken a class with us many years ago and you're like, you know what, I'm finally ready to tackle this. My biggest recommendation I can give you leaving here is sit down and determine your pricing menu as to what you want it to look like this time next year or 2 years from now. When you are advanced in this method, what does your pricing menu need to look like? Not today, not with you being brand new. Next year, what do you want your pricing to look like? What do you need to charge? Okay. And then from there, offer an introductory special. And we call that like a model pricing, right? Offer a model pricing. And model pricing should never, oh my goodness, I cannot stress this enough. It should never be the cost of hair. Once you charge a model for the cost of hair, they will never be a real client again. There's no possible way they're paying just for hair costs today. Next year, it's time for new hair. And you tell them, oh, okay, so I know the hair cost was 500, but today it's actually going to be 1,500 this time. They're like, wait, you're making $1,000 off of my service? And you're like, heck yeah, I am. I absolutely am, and I deserve it. They're like, oh, heck no, right? So we never tell any guest, even if they're a model, what the actual cost of hair is. So I'd recommend to do an introductory special or a model pricing at a percentage off. Okay. So maybe it is 25% off, 30% off. In my salon, any new stylist, we call them beauty tenders, that come into my salon in our training program, they're required to take 3 extension models and they get 40% off that model. So the stylist isn't making much money at all, but they're truly learning on those model clients and use those model clients for photos, for content, video content, photo content. Please expect that model, give them expectations as to what to wear, what to bring, how their makeup should be. Maybe you do their makeup. Don't squeeze a model client in the middle of a packed day when you can't utilize that client. They're getting a huge discount. Make sure you're truly utilizing them, but they're getting an introductory special. Percentage off or a flat rate off. Maybe you do 3 models at $200 off or 3 models at 30% off. Okay. And whatever makes sense for you and your salon. Some of you may be in a commission-based salon. Some of you may be at a suite, maybe renters, right? It has to make sense for whatever your situation is. However, they at the end of the day know this is the price. Okay. This is the price. And this is the special introductory offer that I'm getting. They don't know the hair cost. Okay. So I hope that helps. I hope everything we discussed today just elevates your consultations that much more. And maybe you do provide an amazing consultation, but you can take something away from today just to elevate that. And maybe you're ready to tackle your very first consultation. And after watching this, makes you feel much more comfortable. So wherever you're at in your extension journey, I wish you the absolute best of luck. I truly hope that this helps start those consultation questions. And again, I cannot stress enough, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or any other educator we have with AQUA. We have an incredible education team. We all are here 100% for you. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day if you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay. Have a fantastic morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this, and I will see you guys soon. Bye, guys.